think guys responded in a positive manner. It's just, on to the next one, right? Like whether win or loss, I think our mentality has to be like, let's go on to the next game and let's go get a win against Carolina. It happens to be this week. So I think that has to be our mentality.
It's kind of has to be like that when you look at the schedule y'all played. I know it's a big part of being in the ACC, but 4 straight top 10 opponents now, and just kind of each week you're getting someone really good on the other side.
Right. I mean, that's why you come to Virginia. You come to Virginia for the tough schedule. You come to Virginia to play just big-time opponents and big-time settings, and I think that's what's really important, and that's what shines through, and it helps our recruiting. It helps guys get up for every single game and every single opponent, and we want it that way. We wouldn't have it any other way.
And looking at Matt, I know he kind of had a bounce back against Notre Dame, maybe not as good of a day out against Duke. Just kind of where are you continuing to see maybe the progress and just areas for him to work on?
Matt continues to improve, and that's what we want. We don't need him to be the best goalie in the country in February and necessarily March. We need him to be the best version of himself come April and May. And so he continues to improve. I thought Duke was actually a step forward for him in a lot of ways. I thought he played really well. Duke is a very, very good shooting team. I don't know if you guys could tell that, but we knew that from the outset. We knew he had to make some big saves, and 50% isn't a bad number for a goalie against Duke. He continues to work at his craft, and that's what matters to me, is like he continues to listen, continues to work on things to make himself better, and that's kind of who he is. So we're lucky to have Matt, and he's going to keep getting better this year.
And just continuing there with Matt, is that a situation where you try to get him to look beyond the numbers, like just forget about the numbers and say, here are the saves that you made, these were the savable shots that you did make the saves, and then obviously there are some that are on the doorstep that he doesn't have much of a chance, but then you can also look at the saves that he makes in the fourth quarter. It kind of seems like both in the Maryland game and the Duke game, he can step up and make the saves at the critical moments.
That's true. There's something to be said about that. Like he does step up later in games, and now it's, as a coach, you're thinking, well, let's step up earlier in games. But I think that he gets into sort of a comfortable situation, and I do think he's a big time goalie when it matters. And in the fourth quarter, he does rise to the occasion. He's won some games for us late, like especially in that Notre Dame game. I thought he really stepped up and was huge. In Maryland, he had an opportunity to really win that game for us. And it wasn't the shot in overtime that I'm saying that lost it, but he had some big saves late in the fourth quarter. He continues, again, like I said, he continues to improve, and he continues to just work on things that maybe he's not comfortable. Maybe a shot goes in here, a shot goes in there. His mindset is another thing that he's just really worked on hard, and just kind of a next shot mentality. Doesn't matter what happened to the shot before, just next shot, come at it, with the same mentality no matter what happens.
And where have you seen, obviously he gets thrown into the starting role as a true freshman last year, so it's kind of a big picture scenario here where you're trying to develop him long term. Where have you seen him grow over the last year and a half since he got here?
The place I've seen the most growth is between the ears. I think that's the hardest place for a goalie to really grow, and I thought first year he just was playing goalie. Now people are better at scouting him, and he just needs to understand that, hey, I'm still really good, and no matter if a goal goes in or not, I just have to get the next one and just focus on the next one like it's, the last one, like the most important one, right? And he has really taken it to a next level of working on some of his deficiencies earlier this season and almost making those his strengths. So, you pick a spot where they were shooting, and I think he's made some of those spots into strengths for him, and that's been what's really been important. And he's really worked on his mindset of sort of being aggressive, and he had that last year at times, and I think he's brought that back this year. And when he's aggressive, I think he's a better goalie.
think Petey's gone 50% or better in every game so far this year. Is that just the norm for you, or is there something different about Petey and his mentality when it comes to winning the faceoffs this year?
I'd like to say that's the norm for me, but that wouldn't entirely be true. He's had some patches throughout his career where he's been sub 50 in large capacities, namely Syracuse a couple years ago. He has also worked on the mental game. He's decided that, whatever happened in the past doesn't matter. Next face-off, most important face-off. Sometimes I feel a little bit like a therapist and just talking to him about that. But Petey's matured throughout his career, and he's decided to really make a conscious effort not to let anything deter him. And he's obviously done an unbelievable job this year, and I think he will throughout the rest of this year. And he's one of the reasons that we're one of the highest scoring offenses in the country, if not the highest scoring. He gets us the ball, and he continues to amaze and fight through injury, and be really good there at the X.
How have you seen kind of the team kind of respond this week coming off the Duke loss? I know y'all kind of dealt with similar again after Maryland, but just kind of what has this week been like?
Yeah, I think focus is the word that comes into my mind. This is a group that cares a lot, and obviously Friday night wasn't the result we wanted, but we know that with a quick turnaround, with another ACC opponent, a road game, that we really needed to focus up quickly, and I thought we've responded really well to that. And so we've had a great day of practice yesterday. I'm looking to couple it with another great day today.
Y'all had one of the top offenses in the country. How different has it been, just kind of going from like more of that dual quarterback kind of system to maybe running more things through Connor, and then also having Xander out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think every year is different, and that's part of my job is to make sure the pieces to the puzzle are fitting and not trying to force the issue. And so I have a great group that I get to coach every day. They're tremendous young men that care. They love each other. They share the ball really well. So it's allowed us to do some fun things and play as a six-man unit and really put a lot of pressure on our opponent.
And for Xander, he's kind of a guy that's kind of been patient throughout his career and finally got his chance to move up into the attack. What have you seen from him this year?
I mean, I think the world of Xander Dixon. I think he's a tremendously talented individual. To me, is that's really just starting to scratch the surface of his max potential, and couldn't be happier for him and how he's been waiting in the wings and really putting in the effort. But for the most part, I think he's just a tremendous player, tremendous teammate, and I'm really excited that he's been able to have the success that he's had, because he's really earned it.
It was two drastically different games, the Maryland game and the Duke game, but what were your takeaways from what those two teams were doing against your offense, even defensively?
Yeah, I think you're right. They are different, but at the same time, we left both those games feeling a little bit like we've beaten ourselves a little bit out there. I think it was really important that we stick to what makes us great, which is, playing together, sharing the ball. And both those teams, which we have a tremendous respect for, did some great things to try to get us off our rhythm. And looking back on it, we feel like we left a lot on the table in both those games, and feel like if we see opportunities to fix that, we're going to address it and move forward.
And obviously, you guys have loved to play fast, take advantage of unsettled opportunities, but that's also where some of the turnovers come from. I know Lars has always said we don't care about the turnovers, but they seemed especially costly in the Duke game. Does it tempt you to kind of say, hey, let's be a little more patient, let's run some more 6-on-6, or what is your takeaway there?
I think our takeaway is just we got to just button up our fundamentals, making sure that we're doing things the right way. And, there's obviously we do not care about turnovers if they're done in the right way, and I think that making sure we're not careless with the ball. There's a fine line between playing fast and playing reckless, and we want to make sure that we are flirting with that line, but not ever crossing it. So we still want to play our style. That's what makes us great. It's what makes us dangerous, and we're not going to change too much there.
And they kind of turned Peyton into a Dodger there, putting the short stick on him. How much did you like the way he responded and said, he can prove that he can dodge, still put up 6 goals? What did you like from that performance?
Yeah, I think it's just shown growth with Peyton. I think that's something that in the past he's struggled with, and to see him this year, he's had the short stick a couple times and really responded well, as a Dodger, as well as an off-ball finisher, picking on short sticks there as well. So really just proud of Peyton's growth and his approach to when teams try to do that to him.
And Lars said after the game on Friday that Duke did a good job taking Connor out of the equation. It did seem like Connor was not quite 100% either. How difficult was it for the offense to run in its usual rhythm without Connor kind of initiating the offense?
I think we handled that really well. I really do. I think that as long as we didn't, turn the ball over too early in possessions, we were able to get through the layers of what we try to do offensively. I think we were able to get some positive looks throughout the game. And so obviously Kenny Brower is a great defenseman, but we see great defensemen all the time. And so that's not something that is unheard of for us. And I thought our guys, for the most part, responded really well to that.
Connor's one of those guys that he likes to dive into the film, look at stuff. Is he knocking on your door after games like Maryland and Duke, where maybe he doesn't have his best day, and just kind of like, all right, well, what do we do differently next time?
I think that's the beauty of Connor, is that he'll do that with a win, loss. It could be a 10-point game, it could be a 2-point game. He's constantly trying to improve and sharpen his craft, and so that's what makes him great. And so nothing changes with a loss or a win. He's still going to be there. We're still going to dive into the film. We're still going to highlight the things he did well, and then also correct the things that we want to improve on.
You guys have led the nation in scoring pretty much every week, if not every week for certain. What's something that you guys are trying to improve upon moving forward?
I think one of the things that we need to improve on is just the consistency through a game, and making sure that we stick to the tenets that make us successful. I think there are some games where we can get away from that at times, and so we're just constantly looking to try to piece together that complete game when it comes to our style. I mean, let's be honest, we're never gonna truly piece together a perfect game. I don't believe in that, but at the same time, we can stick to our fundamentals and our tenets for 60 minutes. That's something I do believe we can do, and so we're always striving for that. We want to make sure that we're playing at our tempo that we want to play at against our opponents for the entire game.
Seems like you have a record number of creators, guys that can dodge from either up top or from behind the net this year. What has that been like as an offensive coordinator? Has it been challenging? Has it been rewarding? Both?
It's been incredibly rewarding because of the guys in our locker room and in our offense. They have truly taken to a team approach. You're right, they all can create, they all can make something out of nothing, it seems, but the way that they're sharing the ball and doing it in that way has made it incredibly rewarding. The challenges come if that ball dies in any one stick, but we haven't really had to address that too much, and when we have, it's been buttoned up very quickly. So, all the credit in the world goes to them and their approach and their chemistry that they have with each other.